All meditation are subtle ways to get drunk, to make us drunk with the divine. This could be Jesus' reason for using wine as an allegory. This is to explain to people what it means to be one with God. Description is never the thing described. Jesus is only using the closest thing he could to describe his experience. A drunk person with wine is no different from a man of God. It is not that it really is, but it is only an indication. We know the experience living by a drunk man, but we don't know at all the experience lived by a man of God. So Jesus has no choice to explain one's own experience, must necessarily use an example of an experience that we all know, in order to give us an indication that we can understand. St. Francis was known as the jester of God. This is just another allegory, not too far from that used by Jesus. Even in vain, the same allegory of wine is used. In Sufism, the allegory of wine is also used. So let's go back to meditation. In the previous video, the speaker shared the practice of Vipassana meditation with viewers. Vipassana meditation really is the easiest technique there is. This is its difficulty. The mind is comfortable when it has to do something complicated. But when it comes to simple observing, it becomes extremely difficult. The biggest problem encountered is getting bored. So, to completely forget the observation of the breath and start thinking. When the meditator starts thinking, the observation object also changes. The meditator stops observing the breath and he starts observing the thought process. But only after a few seconds, after the meditator has started to observe the thought process, the meditator will completely forget the observer and there will be only thought. Thoughts will follow one after the other without apparent logic. In reality, thought travel by association. This means that new thought is created from the previous one by association. When we are aroused by this state of unconscious thought, by the sound of hand meditation, we will not remember anything, neither of the breath, nor of the observer, nor of what we have thought. There are techniques to prevent this from happening. These techniques have no connection with Vipassana meditation, but they can help. To prevent the thought process from having too much energy and become uncontrollable, there are three methods to decrease this energy. The first method is to enter in silence. Talking, reading, writing, listening are all activities that nourish the mind. So, if we stay long enough without nourishing the thought process, this will lose power. In the beginning, when we enter in silence, the thought process will have a lot of power on us. Thoughts will be fast and interesting for us. After a period, varying from a few days to many, the thoughts will no longer be interesting for the meditator, because they will always be the same. Since the thought process is not full by new things. In the moment thoughts are no longer interesting for the meditator, it means they won't have that much power in us anymore. At this point, the meditator will have more opportunity to observe the breathing process. Because when the meditator is observing the breath, the thought will come, but the meditator will not give any attention to the thought. The same thought has come so many times before that. The thought has nothing new and interesting. So it is easier for the meditator not to be distracted by the observation of the breath. Without the meditator's attention, the thought process cannot exist. It seems difficult to accept. We think because we want to think. We are so addicted to the thought process that it is really difficult to do without it. There is no doubt worse than the thought process. We are never free of it, day or night. The only cure is the meditation. Being an experienced meditator only means that it will not be easy for the thought process to distract the meditator. At first, an inexperienced meditator is easily distracted from the thought process. Instead, to distract an expert meditator, the thought process must invent increasingly interesting thought to distract him. Otherwise, the thought process never receives the energy to survive from the meditator. This is why the intelligence of an individual who meditates grows. Because the thought process to attract the attention of the meditator cannot be trivial, but the thought must be very refined. Otherwise, we cannot get the attention of the meditator. Attention is another quality of the energy. The only thing that can distract a meditator is when he gives his attention to the thought process. There is no other distraction. You can meditate anywhere. The noise that happens are no distraction. Distraction begins when we give our attention to the noise. Feel free to let the thought process come. The important thing is not give it our attention. Keep watching the breath. It doesn't matter if you forget to watch. It as soon as you remember it, start watching again. Don't judge the thoughts you have. This is just a mind trick to distract you and get your attention. The thought process will do everything to get your energy. Your attention is life. Don't be fooled. The second method is to fast. This technique consists of stopping feeding the thought process from a physical point. If you stop feeding the body, the mind will also find itself without nourishment. So, if you fast long enough, the thought process will initially slow down. If you continue long enough, it will stop. This technique has been used extensively by Maria, founder of the Jain religion. Jainism is one of the religions of India. To those who practice fasting as a system to remove energy from thought can go up to 90 days without food. The third method is used by those who do yoga. This system consists of staying in the yoga position of the head, feet facing the sky, body upright. All the weight of the body is on the head. In this way, all the blood will begin to flow towards the head. The arrival of blood to the head will cause damage to the system that produces thought. So, we will have a reduction in the thought process. Silence, in general, is the technique used by those who practice Vipassana to make the thought process slow down. By silent, the speaker means all those activities that fill the mind. No speaking, no listen, no writing. Of course, you don't even have to listen to spiritual speeches or write about them. Not even talk or listen about the technique itself. The difference doesn't exist. Whatever you listen or thinking or write to spiritual or worldly thing. For a meditator, there is no difference in what you listen, speaking or write. There are all activities that nourish the mind. When we practice Vipassana, our job is to observe breathing and not to stop thinking. We sit in a comfortable position, close our eyes gently, back straight, head slightly tilted forward, the body relaxed. We can change our position as often as necessary. The important thing, and don't forget our breathing. Changing position slowly and consciously. So we sit and watch the breath. After a few seconds, we will forget the breath. We are completely absorbed by the thought. No problem. This is completely normal. So, as soon as we have the chance, we return to observe the breath. When we have forgotten the breath and we move psychologically from thinking to observing the breath, this movement must be gentle, delicate, relaxed, without anger, without experiencing any negative feelings. For an hour, this is everything. The psychological movement of observing the breath and forgetting it. Remember it again and forget it again, and so on. The first few times, within an hour, a total of 2-3 minutes can be observed. The breathing is already fine. Meditate for 2 hours a day, every day. The best time are in the morning when you wake up and the evening before going to sleep. If we can meditate an extra hour at sunset, great. Do not meditate after meals for the last 2 hours. Do not meditate lay down, because not falling asleep is difficult. Thank you for listening.